dominant scales are essential for you playing. So today I'll show you 10 scales and licks to play over different kind of dominant 7th chords. Hi my dear jazz friendlings all over the world, Sandra Sherman here. Greetings from Austria. I've made tabs and scale diagrams over the entire fretboard and of course backing tracks, and you can download all this fun from the link down below in the description box. Please also visit my lesson shop GuitarVersum for more lesson material like this one, and you may want to consider joining the channel or subscribing to my channel. Now let's dig in some dominant scales. All our examples will be in G, and I'll stay for better comparison between the scales. I'll stay down here where the G is on the low E string, okay? So this will be our area. If you download the tabs and the scale, you also get the scale diagrams all over the entire fretboard, okay? Let's start with the scales that do not need to resolve necessarily, because dominant scales, dominant chords have the tendency to resolve back to the one chord. So G7, for example, would resolve to C7, C major 7, or to C minor 7. All right, but if you don't alter the chord, that means if you play G7, G9, G13, or maybe even G sus4, G11, they don't need to resolve. And the first thing you can do, if you want to sound bluesy, you play the blues scale. So that's the basic scale everyone should know. Down here, that's the G minor pentatonic plus the blues note and the blue note, sorry. And I guess you know this pattern already. That's the G minor pentatonic. Now the blue note is the flat 5, and the flat 5 is from the root, always here. That's a flat 5, so that's D flat. And you add it to the scale. And here it is again, D flat. So now we don't want to land on that D flat, it's just a passing note. Check out Take 5, it uses the blues scale in E flat, and Kenny Burrell's, what was it, Midnight Blue, it uses the blues scale in F. I have both up here on my YouTube channel. Now we have a flat 3rd in that scale, and a flat 3rd clashes against the major 3rd of the chord. Now what we can do is we smear bend, even in jazz we smear bend this sometimes. So it goes towards the 3rd, but not exactly on the 3rd. It's a 3rd, it's more like a quarter tone. All right, let's check out a lick that uses all this. The G Mixolydian scale also does not have to resolve, so it's also great for blues or anything that doesn't resolve. And it goes over G9, 11, 13 again, and it's like the G major pentatonic, but it has an added 4th and a 7th in there, okay? So we have the G, A, B, C, D, E, F, that's the flat 7th, and here's the G again, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. It's basically the same as the C major scale, but we focus on the chord tones of G7. So G7 arpeggio, you need to check that out too. And you may want to land on these tones and use the other 3 tones as passing tones. So be aware of G is a chord tone, and A is the passing tone. The 9th is the passing tone that goes over to the B, the 3rd of the chord. So you may want to practice, and the other way around. Because these are your good tones, they're included in the chord. And this one is also a good tone, but it's better to land on a chord tone. The next one, B to D, from the 3rd to the 5th of the chord via the 4th. The 4th is the avoid note in Mixolydian. Don't land on this one. And vice versa. And last but not least, we have the 5th goes to the 7th. and vice versa. So the sixth is just a passing tone, right? These are, you need to know your arpeggio too, okay? But this would be too much for this tutorial. All right, now let's check out a lick in G Mixolydian. In order to get the chord tones on beats, bebop players like Charlie Parker added an 8th note to the scale, the major 7 in our case. So we have the Mixolydian scale, and between the flat 7th, the F, and the root, we add the major 7 as a passing tone, so that the root falls on a beat, or if you play it descending, the flat 7 falls on a beat. Okay, so it's just a passing tone, don't land on it. Let's check out the scale in whole. Second octave. B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Usually when I go ascending, I play to the left side and slide into this. And when I go descending, I go here on the right side. Why is that? Because, I don't know, I get a better phrasing. 1 and 2, because you want the jazz phrasing to be the slides, hammers, pulls from offbeat to beat. So that's a lot better. Okay, as long as you stay on chord tones on beat, as long as you start your lines on beats, on chord tones, you can play the scale up and down stepwise without even thinking about anything. You will always be right. All your chord tones will remain on beats, like everything will be correct. If you skip a note, you have to either play a quarter note, or you just, when you enter the scale again, you start on a beat on a chord tone again. All right, the next lick will showcase this. Since the 11th is considered an avoid note that you should not land on if you have just standard G9 13 chords, we can replace the 11th by the sharp 11th. This does not make it an altered scale. It's just a hipper sounding mixo scale, and it's still not resolved. So G7 does not need to be resolved. This happens, for example, actually a lot of times whenever G7 doesn't resolve. Just use it like the mixo scale. The second bar, or the second chord of Girl from Ipanema, we have that F major and then a G13. And it goes to G minor, so it does not resolve to C. And you can use it there. Let's check out the scale. It's like the mixo scale, G, A, B, but instead of this, the C, which is the 11th or the 4th, we have the sharp 4, the sharp 11th, right? This is derived from the melodic minor scale. Sounds a little weird now, but it's perfectly fine when we played. That's the first octave. Second octave, G, A, B, no C, but C sharp, D, E, F, G, A. The thing is, we like to play this ascending more, because that C sharp tends to resolve to the D, that's the 5th of the chord. Semitones are the best to resolve. So this is a strong tendency towards the D, while not going to the B, that's a whole tone. While the mixo scale, if we play this backwards, the mixo scale, the C resolves to the B. That's a semitone, okay? So ascending, we play the mixo sharp 11, and descending, you play the mixo. Of course, you can always play the sharp 11 descending too, but usually that's the way it is played. Okay, so you may want to practice the sharp 11 scale up and the Mixo scale down, descending. All right, and then now let's check out lick in the Mixo sharp 11 scale. When a dominant chord resolves back to its one chord, we can use altered scales to create more tension, which is then resolved. In our case, the G7 chord resolves back to a C major 7 or a C minor 7. And to alter tones means we raise or lower the 9, 11, and 13 by a semitone. Here are all the alterations there are: flat 9, sharp 11, and flat 13. The sharp 11 is also called the flat 5, and the flat 13 is also called the sharp 5. If we apply all available alterations to a Mixolydian scale, we get the altered scale. So here it is. G, then instead of the 9th, the A, we play the flat 9th and the sharp 9th. Then we have the 3rd, we had it here in the Mixo scale, but now let's play it here. Because the next thing will be the sharp 4, so instead of C, we go to C sharp. Then the flat 13, so instead of the E, we use the E flat here. So this looks quite different. Then we have the flat 7th, which is always 2 strings below the root. And the root again. And flat 9, sharp 9, 3rd, sharp 11, flat 13, flat 7th, root, flat 9, sharp 9. If a scale sounds weird, it's best to give the listener structured sounds like arpeggios or sequences. The G altered scale is the 7th mode of the melodic minor, the A-flat melodic minor scale. So we can use the A-flat minor triad here. That always sounds good. And the A-flat minor major 7, that is what this scale is about actually. And that goes over a G altered chord like G7 flat 13, for example. Let's hear how that sounds. The melodic minor scale is a gold mine for altered sounds. On its 2nd degree, we get a sus flat 9 chord. That's a beautifully weird sound I really dig. Check out the chord. Here's the G sus flat 9 chord. G, here's the sus, the 4, here's the 7th, and here's the flat 9. So if G sus flat 9 is the 2nd degree of a scale, what is the 1st degree? This G is the 2nd degree, and the 1st is a whole step in a melodic minor. So it's F, the F melodic minor scale. So let's check out this scale, G sus flat 9, or actually it's called G Dorian flat 9, because it's also like G Dorian but with a flat 9th. We start with the G, of course, and then we have the flat 9 already, which is the minor 2nd. The sharp 9 is also in there, it's just not used in the chord, in the sus flat 9 chord. Then we have the sus, the 5th, the 6th, and the flat 7th. And here's the root again. Let's continue the scale. Flat 9, sharp 9, sus 4, 5th, 6th, flat 7, root, flat 9, sharp 7, and so on and so forth. The G sus flat 9 chord can also be written as an F minor / G. That means F minor triad with the G in bass. And that's how we can also improvise. Let's check this out. F minor triad with the G in bass, that's the chord I showed you. or you can also see it here, F minor triad with a G in bass. That's a G sus flat 9 chord. And you can play the F minor triad, arpeggio, or F minor major 7. Because the E is in the scale too. And then we get a G13 sus flat, sus chord, alright? And also included in that arpeggio, you could just play, that's an A flat plus, A flat augmented triad. Let's check out in a lick how to do exactly that. And here's another melodic minor mode. On the 5th degree of the melodic minor scale, we get the Mixo flat 13 scale. Going back a 5th gives us the C melodic minor scale. So from G back is the C, all right? And in relation to the G root, we get the following tones. So we have G, A is the 9th, B is the 3rd, C is the 11th, D is the 5th, and now we need the E flat for the flat 13. Then the F is the flat 7th, and let's take another octave. G, A, B, C, D, E flat instead of E, F, G, A. Since we have an E flat in the scale now, twice, it really resolves better down to C minor, because C minor also has that E flat in the chord, all right? Our go-to arpeggio is the G7 sharp 5. This is the chord for it. So that's where it fits perfectly fine. And you want to learn the G7 sharp 5 arpeggio. G, B, D sharp, right? And F is the 7th. You can also use only the triad, the augmented chord, without the 7th. G, B, D sharp, G. Right? Let's check this out in a lick. We also get some great scales from the harmonic minor scale. Starting on the 5th degree of the C harmonic minor, we get the G Phrygian dominant scale. What a name! And let's check out what intervals we get in relation to a G7 chord. We have the G, the A flat is the flat 9, and then we have a big jump over to the B. So there's no B flat in here. And that's a minor third between the A flat and the B. So that's the first time that happens. Usually we have half tones and whole tones. This time we have a whole and a half tone, a minor third. Then we go to the C, D, E flat, the flat 13, the F of course, because we need a flat 7th. And on the G we start all over again. G, A flat, B, here is that jump again. A flat, B, C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat. And it sounds a little oriental, right? And it's used also in pop music all the time. A lot of times people don't even know they use it, because it's basically just a C minor scale where we exchange one tone. If you have a C minor chord progression and the 5 chord comes up, G7, then the C minor scale doesn't fit anymore because it has a B flat, which would be the minor third of the G7. The G7, of course, has a major third. So now we need to exchange that B flat for a B. So that's another way to look at that scale. Playing a C minor scale, but exchanging the B flat, every B flat, for a B. And of course it resolves to C minor. And we can, there is, maybe you realized it, I don't know. There's a diminished chord in there, arpeggio. Starting from the B, D, F, A flat. That's a G7 flat 9 chord actually. So We want to use that in the next lick. The diminished scale is also called the halftone whole tone scale because it alternates between halftones and whole tones. And this way we get 8 tones, an 8-note scale. Let's check it out. So we just climb up the G in half and whole tones notes. Halftone, that's a flat 9. Whole tone, sharp 9. Halftone is the 3rd. Whole tone, sharp 11. Halftone is the 5th. Whole tone is the 13, halftone is the flat 7. And this way we continue. G, A flat, B flat, B, C sharp, D, E, F, G, A flat, B flat. All right, first off, the house chord is a G13 flat 9 chord. That's an awesome chord. So this is derived from this G. We don't need the bass, but play the flat 9 on top. So because this scale has a 13, that's an unaltered, but we also have the flat 9 and the sharp 9, which are alterations. So this is kind of a half altered, half not unaltered. And G13 flat 9 is our house chord that we preferably use over this scale. And I usually play this scale from the D string only because it has a symmetry in here. All right, I use 3 notes, and I have the ring finger on one string and the middle on the next. Then again, the next pair is the same as the previous one. Ring finger and middle finger. That way I can memorize it easy. And we can take advantage of using, because it's all 3 notes, triplets. Triplet, 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 triplet. Let's check this out in the next lick. The whole tone scale is a symmetrical scale consisting only of, you guessed it, whole tones. We start on the G again, of course, and we get an A, which is the 9th, so it's not altered. Then we have the B, that's the 3rd. C sharp, the sharp 11, that is. D sharp is the sharp 5 or flat 13. And the F, of course, is the flat 7. And then we continue, G, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, F, G, A, B. So we have a symmetry on the lower 4 strings this time. Check this out. This pair of strings. And then the next one is the same. And actually the next one is the same too, but we have to go one to the right. Right? And this scale is used a lot in cartoons. The intro music I played, the little improvisation, I think I used this. Let's check out the chord first and then I'll explain this to you. G7 sharp 5 is the house chord, actually G9 sharp 5. Because we have that 9th in there that really outlines the scale. So G7 sharp 5 with a 9th is G9 sharp 5. And you see this block here, and now you can use, this is in the scale, right? So these were in the scale. Now, if you have 2 notes that are in the scale, you just move them up 2 frets because this scale is symmetrical, has only whole tone. Everything else must fit without even looking at it. And we see the coyote drop down the abyss. All right, you can use the G7 sharp 5 arpeggio, of course, again. Or just the triad, the augmented triad. Okay, let's check out a lick using this. check out the 8 minor scales tutorial I have up here on my channel, and also check out my soloing playlist for a lot more tutorials like this one. Please subscribe to the channel or join the channel. If you join, you get nice perks like mini lessons and emojis and badges and so on and so forth. Please like the video, and I hope to see you next week. Servus, Baba.